Alright everyone, so for today I want to discuss some of the new Black Ops 6 and Warzone leaks that came out recently, because some of this stuff definitely sounds really interesting, and also there's some big news for Warzone players. As we all know, Warzone has been a pretty dry game lately. There just hasn't been much content, and the player base has declined a decent amount, so a lot of people are wondering what Activision is going to do to bring players back, and a big part of that seems to be banking on bringing back Verdansk. Verdansk is going to be coming back to Warzone in Season 3, and it looks like the Season 3 update is going to go live on March 20 based on how the Battle Pass timer is counting down. So typically the end of the Battle Pass is just the same as the end of the season. It doesn't look like there's going to be any delays or anything like that. Now there are going to be some differences in the new Verdansk, but it will still closely resemble the one that we had in Warzone back in 2020. For instance, the stadium roof and the train station interior are going to be closed, so this Verdansk seems to be more of a remake than just a simple remaster or a copy. However, it also looks like some iconic weapons that a lot of people really loved back in the first iteration of Warzone are also going to be coming back, and those are the Grau 5.56 and the HDR. The last time we saw these two guns, it was back in Modern Warfare 2019, which is when Warzone 1 still existed, but now it looks like they might actually be making a comeback. According to data miners as well, it looks like the original Rose operator from Warzone 1 might actually be returning to Call of Duty, and it specifically refers to the pretty infamous black operator outfit that Rose wore back in MW 2019. Now, if the Grau and HDR do make a return to Warzone this time around and they perform about the exact same way as they did back in Warzone, it would make sense for them to essentially become the long-range meta basically, and I'm sure that almost everyone is going to be running these two weapons quite a lot. They were fan favorites, of course. Now, there's also rumors that the Kilo and AMAX might also be returning with Verdansk as well, and it seems honestly like Activision is going all in on Verdansk and trying to bring back a lot of players with the return of it as well. Apparently, Activision is trying to make Verdansk's return the best they can, and it's one of the reasons why Season 2 in Warzone had essentially no content, because the teams working on Warzone are just trying to make Verdansk a sort of comeback for the game. They also invited some content creators to test it, and they had different map elements, different traversal elements, and things like that. This took place a few weeks ago, so if they did bring in some pretty prominent Warzone content creators, then hopefully they've listened to the feedback, because a lot of the Warzone players on YouTube and things like that tend to sort of echo and relay what their communities are also feeling about the game, and for the most part there has been a noticeable negative sentiment around Warzone. Now, Call of Duty still does remain one of the highest played games, but it's pretty clear that Warzone is not currently where it was some time ago. Of course, bringing back Verdansk isn't necessarily the saving move that can help Warzone, because a lot of issues exist outside of just the maps that there are currently, but there's also movement, the gunplay, anti-cheat, and things like that. Now, there's definitely going to be a lot of hype surrounding the Verdansk release from Warzone players, and Activision apparently is hoping that Verdansk can bring back a lot of those players who left the game, and I have no doubt that when Season 3 launches, it will probably reel in a lot of people who might be curious to see how Warzone is at that point. But what's important is maintaining obviously whatever fixes they push for Warzone at the start of Season 3. Nostalgia for Verdansk alone isn't really the biggest issue, because players have been pretty much stuck on these same two maps the whole time, and it obviously gets really boring for a major live service title like Warzone that basically rivals the likes of Fortnite and things like that. It seems also like the Avalon map that we heard about some time back is going to be coming to Warzone not too long after the Verdansk launch, so if they did take Season 2 off, I hope that whatever changes they were making were actually prominent and worthwhile, because it would be a major disappointment to a lot of players, and I think the players that are sort of still straggling along might feel sort of like the rug was pulled out from under them, you know? Now, personally, I'm not a major Warzone player, but I do remember loading up a few matches back in Warzone 1, and then at the start of Warzone 2, I played some DMZ and things like that, and yeah, while there were problems, I can tell you that I think the experience back then was just more fun than the experience is now. I don't really play Warzone much anymore, and I feel like I wasn't really enticed to do so because I just didn't find it that fun. Plus, it's been Urzikstan basically the entire time. You obviously want to see some change after all this time playing the exact same thing. I'd say that the biggest and most major issues right now with Warzone are the cheaters that are quite rampant in the game. A lot of people do tend to point the blame at PC players, which, yeah, definitely the problem does exist more prominently on PC, or at least it's more obvious on PC, and there are lots of cheat makers and sellers, and Ricochet doesn't seem to be targeting people who are genuinely cheating much at all, or their targeting system is just really slow and lagging behind. It's not really fulfilling fulfilling the demand that it's supposed to be fulfilling. Now, the other day, Activision had sent out some cease and desist letters to 2 major Call of Duty cheat providers, but the issue is that it's hard to do this for all of them, since they genuinely need to find who owns the website, who hosts the websites, who are the real owners, and things like that. Then you can actually send this sort of legal notice, so this takes time, and it's not always guaranteed that you're going to find the information. Of course, just because those 2 got shut down doesn't mean that there aren't so many other providers out there, and it doesn't mean that the cheating problem is just going to miraculously vanish. Also, what's to say that the owners of those 2 websites won't just go and open new websites anyways after some time? You never know. Warzone and Black Ops 6 for ranked play now allow you to turn off crossplay for consoles so that you don't play against PC players, and I've seen lots of calls for this to be getting added to standard public matches. I don't personally see this as something that's going to happen, because that would alienate quite a decent chunk of the player base, and I don't really like the idea of group punishment, because I feel like rather than just punish all PC players, it would just make more sense to have a working anti-cheat that actually detects and fixes the situation and punishes the individuals responsible. But anyways, I personally am against the crossplay off feature in public matches, but honestly that might just be bias on my end because I play on PC. But anyways, aside from all that, in addition to Rose, it seems like there are going to be some other operators from the original Warzone, as well as some other Call of Duty titles that might be coming to Black Ops 6. So it looks like one of those is going to be Hudson and then Mace. Hudson is a Black Ops character, of course. Mace showed up back in Modern Warfare 2019. Now we know that all the new games are basically in the same universal timeline thing because of the zombie storyline and of course Warzone, but it is a bit of an interesting choice to be bringing back operators like Rose and Mace just because they don't really seem like they fit into Black Ops 6. I think it's honestly just because they want to add them to Warzone, and since they have to allow things to carry over from the base game to Warzone, they'll basically just add them into Black Ops 6 and I guess somehow make it work. I don't know, it'll definitely be weird to see Rose again and in a Black Ops title of all things. There was also references from data mines apparently that show that Domino from Modern Warfare 2019 might be coming back to Black Ops 6 as well, so a bit of an interesting thing to add if these things pan out to be true. Of course, these are based off of data mines, so do take it with a grain of salt. It also sounds like Urzikstan might be getting removed when Verdansk is launched, which I think does make sense. It would then make room for them to add an Avalon and maybe something else later down in the future, but I honestly saw a lot of comments on Twitter and things like that were really happy about this potential change because people have obviously gotten very bored with Urzikstan. That's not even a question at this point. Activision is also implementing a new system called the Call of Duty Recon Squad, and basically this is sort of like an invite-only community feedback system where basically you answer surveys, participate in whatever activities they have, earn points, redeem in-game cosmetics, things like that, but it seems like they're trying to do this sort of community outreach and get this feedback so they can implement different things in the game. For instance, they seem to be asking players to rate camos like event camos and weekly challenge camos that were seen back in Modern Warfare 2 and Modern Warfare 3, the reboots of course, and it's possible that if player feedback is positive on those camos, they might bring stuff like that back so that we can actually get some better event rewards. Although the events are alright in Black Ops 6, the rewards just don't feel like they're all that amazing. There might be a reward or two mixed in there that are really nice, but not all of them are great. Like I always say, the sprays, I will never understand the point of those. Having camos though, and animated camos that would genuinely be awesome. I personally would love to see that added to Black Ops 6. I thought, for example, that it would have been cool if something like the Shadow Hunt event had a camo, for instance. The blueprint is nice, but getting universal camos is fun, because at least you can equip them on every weapon. Personally, I'll probably be playing when Verdansk launches to see what sort of changes they've implemented into Warzone and to see if overall it feels better than it's been so far. I'm not sure precisely what I expect or if I really expect much to change, but we'll just have to wait and see. I think with them having a whole season with no content drops basically, I'm hoping that whatever they come out with is impressive. Anyways though, let me know in the comments below your thoughts on all of this because it is quite a lot of new info, and although a lot of these things are rumors and leaks, a lot of these things were also confirmed or came from credible sources. So yeah, comment below what you think about all of this. Thank you for watching, leave a like and share this video, and don't forget to subscribe with notifications set to all so you can stay up to date with all the latest videos. And that's all for today, folks.
Hostile RCXD in your AO.
Down pulse available.